Hello everyone, welcome to Friday's Report Out. Good to see you all. Delighted that we're getting Report Out going again after all of the pressures with Omicron, obviously giving time for people to focus on the intense operational challenges, but with that perhaps we hope less of a major challenge in terms of volumes. We're delighted to get Report Out going again, and it's great to welcome Adult Critical Care Team, L4 ICU Daily Management and Production Board. So welcome to colleagues, and I can just see, I think, there we go, we've got James, Paula and Cassie, and then we're going to talk about new training offering for the Leeds Improvement Method Foundation team. So without further ado, shall I hand you over to the team, and looking forward to hearing your report out. Thank you.
Morning. Oh no, it's afternoon now, actually, isn't it? Sorry. I can't actually claim any of the hard work for this. It's all Paula and Cassie that's done this, but essentially, I won't say too much because we were saying in their presentation, but we had a situation, certainly going through COVID, where there were lots of essential daily, weekly, monthly things being missed on the unit. And people didn't really know who was doing what, whose responsibility it was to do different things. So Paula and Cassie set up this leader standard work to help us keep on top of everything. So I'll hand over to them just to take you through it.
Brilliant. Could we have the next slide, please, Jimmy? Brilliant. A lot of the work that we've done on the production boards, both Cassie and I are Lean for Leaders, began in the pandemic. What we were finding was that our team was very fragmented. We're a team of 6 Band 7s with all equal responsibilities for managing our unit. Work wasn't getting completed. Unfortunately, our teams were working in forced silos. We were dotted around the critical care floor, and primarily and firstly, the maternity leave wasn't being processed, and life carries on and things still need doing, and people were going on maternity leave without the relevant paperwork being completed, and the consequence was that pay was being affected. So the first part of the production board we set up was to monitor maternity leave, which started to work quite well, but quite clearly there were educational deficits because we had quite a young junior senior team, if that makes sense. So it highlighted we need to educate as well. But as things have progressed, sorry, if we move on to the next slide, please, Jimmy. As things progressed, the production board started to manage the maternity leave very, very well, and we have very, very little problems now. On the back of that, it was very clear that other work was not getting done, again, because we were working in different areas all the time. And again, work still needs doing, and assurances still needed to be made that that work was done. So we developed into a management day production board. Next slide, please, Jimmy. I think there's some there. And it looks quite busy, but actually it incorporated essential elements of our daily work, standard work, in fact, and ensured that the work was getting done, and gave James the assurance as our matron that the work was done at a glance rather than having to go through lots of information to find that. It was taken on board very well by the team, and gave the team a little bit of education as to what their role should encompass, as again we had quite a young junior senior team. That was taken on very well and evolved very well, and now we get our work done quickly and efficiently, and we also work as a cohesive and collaborative team to get it done. Recently the metrics has also increased, our workload has increased through metrics, now having to cover 10 patients. So we've added a metrics element to our production board, which means we can cover 10 patients very quickly and efficiently by sharing the workload over a couple of weeks. On our management days, we just do 2 patients each, right, and we get the 10 patients audited effectively. And we've recently added some mistake proof into that as a final check, so that we make sure that everything's done and completed on time. So from that element, that's how our production boards have evolved and how we're actually getting our work done and working together collaboratively as a team to get that done. I'll hand you over to Cassie now so that she can talk about the next element of our production work that is ensuring we get things done.
So this board was a board that was done sort of pre-COVID, and it was around the staff return to works. Again, as Paula said, we've got quite a large senior team, but quite junior, and what we were finding were staff return to works were not getting completed at all or on time, ideally on the first shift back or certainly within the first 5 days as recommended. So we used to have like a little folder that would just go walkage, you'd never be able to find it, which would have the return to works in, and it wasn't confidential either because it could just be in an office. So we decided to go for this board, which is the first one up on the left, and basically we sort of brainstormed from there, and as you can see, they've been well used of these boards, and it's sort of seen us through COVID as well. As Paula said, we've actually been spread out across seafloor at Jubilee Wing over the pandemic, so we've not necessarily had everybody based on our normal unit. So trying to keep on top of sort of staff sickness and return to work has been quite difficult, certainly for the Band 7s as well, maintaining, their team members and who's been off sick. So you can see it's been sort of well used. We did have an increase in the return to works getting done, but even through COVID with, the COVID related sicknesses, I mean, the good thing was, or sort of the ha-ha moment for me coming in was, one of the Band 6s had just added COVID onto the bottom. So it wasn't a case of that sort of we did it doing LIM for Leaders. Actually, somebody else sort of felt empowered enough that they would add that onto the sickness board, which was great for us. And then sort of the final board on the right hand side, again, it's feedback that we got from the senior team, and we've adjusted it again because the COVID policy sort of sickness and swabbing and things changed so frequently. Staff were finding it really difficult to know actually when they were allowed to return to work, what swabs were needed, and when. So, we've sort of evolved it now where the left-hand side is sort of everyday sicknesses and the right-hand side's the COVID. And we use it for the nurse in charge huddles that they do pre-shift. So they huddle around the board, and they'll huddle around the boards that Paul has just done because they're all located in one office, whereas prior there were sort of forms that we would have in a little clipboard. So actually it's all visual, it's all there in the nurse, the sister's office that they will huddle around. And then underneath I've kind of just put some figures there. So the 2017 is kind of took on this board and doing this work. And 2021, as you can see, and that's us, well in this pandemic, we've shown an increase there in the return to works. We've gone up there kind of 15% in getting these return to works done. There's still some work to do, and me and Paul recognise that there is work to do there. But again, I think it's just because we've got such a junior senior team. We know, I think they don't necessarily know how to input that on the roster. So going forward, me and Paul have got further ideas, on how we'll get these numbers up even further. But we did it on the back of, obviously, if you just go to the next slide, please, Jimmy, sort of working with the trust visions and goals as well, sort of being the best place to work, and health and well-being at the forefront of everybody's minds at the minute, especially on the back of the last 2 years. It's really important that the staff feel valued, if they've had some time off work, whether it be half a day, or a number of weeks, it's really important that we recognise they've had time away from work and we spend with them. The other good thing as well, what's gone well is with the boards that we've done, is the other units in critical care have recognised that they're working. So actually they're now formulating boards that are either exactly like ours or very similar and what work for their units. So the general ICU and Neuro ICU are formulating boards on the back of these that me and Paula have done. I think what's gone well is the increased awareness of that the processes do change. Nobody likes change, but actually the staff really have embraced the changes, especially with the COVID that we've had. The team cohesiveness, again, that Paula said, it really has gelled the Band 7s together. It was almost like you didn't actually know whose responsibility it was, or you can look at the board quite clearly and see if that's not being done, they've had a busy day, somebody else will take that task on, or we can roll it on to the following week. And I think we've had some real engagement right from the start. They've really got involved, but I think it's because it was visible to them to use. What we do differently, we really struggled, did me and Paula, with this. Because we are a team that do sort of seek feedback, and they are a good team at embracing sort of different things and challenges and changes. But I think it was just me and Paula felt we would have more confidence to use these visuals from the start, and not try and work off paper and things, and have that confidence to go straight up, seeing how evolving these boards have got. Kind of that's how we feel. It's just that we need that more confidence in believing in ourselves. So yeah, I think, anything else, Paula, you want to add in?
No, not really. But what I would say is, and this isn't just, I'm not just saying this because we're a report out, but the elements that we've employed, I wouldn't have had those skills or tools had I have not done Lean for Leaders. It wouldn't have. I don't think it would have occurred to me to do that. So whilst Lean for Leaders was something that I did well before the pandemic even and hit, I've gained skills and knowledge and ability to do that through that, and that's made a difference. And I think that's an important thing to sort of publicise, that this is in practice. This isn't in a classroom. We've actually used those skills to make things better, and that's really positive experience for more than just the Lean for Leaders, for our team as a whole, and that's great.
I think as well, Paula, we've done many of the projects, haven't we, on the back of Lean or through our Lean for Leaders, and I think without that, through this pandemic, I think we will have struggled. Our ICU was split in half. It was half amber and half red at one point, and quite quickly we had to work as a team, but have our Lean for Leaders head on, and sort of storerooms, just the little things, the huddle boards, the work that we've done on the back of our Lean for Leaders training has been great certainly throughout the last couple of years.
Most definitely, and it's what we've done and what we've been through, and the skills that we've got from it are real, and I think that's a really important message to get across, that these are real tangible things that we're doing in our workplace, and that's on the back of Lean for Leaders, and so I'm actually very grateful for going through that process, and thank you.
Fantastic, that's great. Paula, Cassie, excellent, really good reflections in there, and really well done. I'm sure there'll be questions and comments, so let's open it up for colleagues. So who'd like to kick off? Paul?
I do it. Yeah, I just want to reflect, really. I think the way you talked about that transparency and those visual tools, and that's the way to embrace them. I mean, I love your junior senior team as well as a phrase. Having to bring people through and give them the confidence to do the roles that they need to do, but by making it more visual, by making it more available, you kind of allow that work to happen and people to understand what they're supposed to be doing, and everyone to see more clearly how it works. So I think you talked, this thing about having more confidence to use visuals from the start. Actually, the way you talked about it is I think a great example for us to use about why using visuals from the start is the right way to go. And that it does provide that huge kind of uplift in visibility and progress. So I just think it's a great case study for us to share and to use, and I hope that we use this case study in other leaders, just so that people do have confidence to jump to use those tools when they see the opportunity. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely agree with that, Paul. Any comments on that, Cassie, Paula? Because you've obviously drawn on Lean for Leaders in this, and talking through that you wouldn't necessarily have done it this way had it not been for that. I think it's a really strong message, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's equating the theory to the practice and making it real. It infiltrates into the team when you use those visual controls. I think the rest of, like you said, the rest of the team can actually see it. they work it, they do it, and before they know it, they're working in a more lean way without actually being taught it. So yeah, the visual side of things I think has been incredibly important.
I think all the tools and sort of skills you learn on Lean for Leaders, I've done sort of change management things before, but I think the things you learn in Lean for Leaders, I've found it easier to sort of introduce any sort of change management. And it helps coach other staff. I mean, some of the ideas that the staff have come to us with, the coaching skills we learned on Lean for Leaders has helped us. And they've had the confidence then to sort of adapt these boards when we've not been around. They've had the confidence to come and sort of say, well, actually, I think we should do this. And I think that's really important because, you know, they're going to be our future leaders. So, you know, they really need to have that confidence. We really, you know, do need to empower them.
Absolutely. I'm just looking. Oh, Alex.
Hi, thanks, Julian. Hi, I'm Alex. I'm the service manager in adult critical care. It was good to listen to what Paul was just saying there. And speaking as someone who works within critical care, but not specifically on cardiac ICU, and is hopefully coming to the end of their own kind of Lean for Leaders journey in the next few weeks. It was interesting hearing what Cassie had said, where she mentioned her Lean for Leaders head and putting her Lean for Leaders head on. And I find that a really interesting comment, because I would never think that you have to do that, Cassie, because working with you, it's just the way that we do things now. And I reflect, if there's ever a point where I need a bit of inspiration, whether generally or relating to Leeds Improvement Method, Lean for Leaders, whatever that looks like, cardiac is the place that I go, cardiac ICU. They embody it. It's how the work is done in every way. It is fully embedded there. It's a real success story. And I know that it's something that we have shared with other areas already, but I think it's something that hopefully, you know, I'm conscious that we've got colleagues from KPO on the call, but it's something that we definitely would want to share further as well. It's been, you know, the work that they've done is evident and really positive and embedded there.
I couldn't agree more with that, Alex. And certainly when I did my Lean for Leaders, there was quite a few colleagues from adult cardiac crit care, including James and one or two others. So it's clear that it's being used positively, which is and spreading, and that's really, really encouraging. So I'm just checking any other comments, questions. Lisa.
It's just a comment, really. I just want to really thank you as a team for everything that you've done. The work that you've done, this is absolutely amazing. But Cassie, I will never forget you for. So Julie and Cassie is the nurse that walked me around critical care when we were at the height of the first wave.
Oh,
and
yes.
I joined execs, didn't I, straight afterwards, and was describing to the exec team what it was like in critical care at that time. And I'll never forget you, Cassie, and I'll never forget that team, your team that you work with. So thank you for everything that you've done, and thank you for continuing this work in the Leeds way, in the way that you have. And I'm sure we can learn a lot. And you know, as we've said today, what's been said, we can utilise a lot of your experiences across other areas. So thank you.
I couldn't agree more with that, Lisa. In fact, I remember when you came back and described to us at execs your experience. So, Cassie, I think you did a good job there, giving Lisa the sort of first-hand experience of what you guys were going through, because it really did help focus our attention and thoughts on, you know, what we were doing and how we were managing things and the pressure you guys were all under. So, really important.
I remember Lisa asking her to don and off, and she couldn't believe the length of time it took to actually do it, and having to ask her to clean her shoes when she came out of a hot area. I was mortified, honestly.
Excellent. Oh no, that's good. That's good. So, any other questions or comments? Okay, well, that I think is excellent work. Really good, and I would encourage you, and I'm sure James will make sure that we bring back the work, Paula, Cassie, that you're doing for a future report out, because I'm sure there's more ideas you've got and more to come in the way you work in this. It's really good to see the visual management component of it, and it really does, I think, bring to life the method in a way that demonstrates how it's directly helping improve what we do in terms of daily management, standard work, and ultimately the quality of care we offer to patients. And that reliability you talked about, the point you made at the start, James, about the sort of importance of those daily checks and managing the safety of patients, which is so key in your work. So really well done, guys. Thanks very much for sharing it today. That's brilliant. So I'm just checking, Jimmy, going back to the agenda. Could you put that up? So I think we've got the new training offering, which is really exciting, Leeds Improvement Method Foundation Day. And are you picking this up on behalf of the KPO team, Jimmy?
I am. Thanks, Julian. Yeah, there's a really good segue in there as well, hearing from some fantastic work built on Lean for Leaders. So I just wanted to take the opportunity to share what our new offering looks like, really. So we're calling it the LIM Foundation Day, and it's available now. Next slide, please, Jim. So why have we changed it? Well, despite the brilliant examples we've just heard, there are others who have experienced the program and offered us really valuable feedback on it. So the slide here describes some of that in terms of challenges around the language, a lack of Leeds examples. Here we've got some brilliant ones, can't we? So we want to weave in what this looks like in Leeds rather than having perhaps more of a predominance of examples offered by VMI originally. There was a perception that this was a program for perhaps senior folk, a bit elitist, whereas we want absolutely the foundation to be part of how everyone approaches their work. So that was part of the change desire as well. Challenge around accessibility, digging in to find what you needed in the depths of G Drive. We've probably all experienced that from time to time. And so there's something about trying to make it really accessible and easy for people to get what they needed. And without diluting the concepts, making the concepts more accessible. So reducing some of that burden of work to move through the program, which, as you can see, that's not a particularly impressive statistic, an attrition rate at 70%. So I would qualify that to say that's not that people haven't, 70% of people didn't learn anything. That's that 70% of people who started the course didn't get a certificate to really get all the way through. And yet I would like to add to that I've worked with numerous colleagues over the last several years where they might not have that sort of hanging on the wall, but they absolutely have used their learning to improve the services they offer and improve their teams. But that's a number we want to be an awful lot better. So clearly there's a need for change, which has been the catalyst for the huge amount of work that the team have taken on over the last sort of 6 months or so to produce this first foundation level. Next slide, please, Jim. So what have we done? We've aligned the content with the Leeds values a lot more strongly. We've provided more space and opportunity within the session to really hear from other people, to listen from other people, and get a sense of what it looks like and learn from that. So a lot more opportunity for dialogue and for touching on the kind of the antecedents of change. What are the things that we need to be aware of if we're approaching change in the right way, in the Leeds way? Weaving in far more examples in there. We've touched on that already, and we've got some more to add there. We've put in a lot around compassionate leadership, around the things that are important, that kind of how we do it. So the concepts in themselves are fairly straightforward, but the way we use those is so important. So we've put more emphasis on that in our foundation day. And I've touched on as well that awareness, the tools. Again, I can't help but reference what we've heard today. Some great tools, excellently used, and we want to make that really easy for people. So we're trying to I suppose distill it down to make that access and then the accountability that can go alongside it. So if we make the expectations really clear and we make the tools accessible, then it feels a lot more reasonable to expect people to demonstrate the change and the impact they've had with their learning. Next slide, please. And I'm passing across to Matt after this, but this is our little what's available. Well, it's available now. We want people to know that. So we've had a bit of a soft launch, but these courses are available certainly over the next couple of months. We've got one every week or two, and then as of April we will have at least one a week. They're currently delivered via Teams, as you'd imagine, with about 18 delegates in each is our capacity. So we're looking to be pushed. We'd love to be full and have to offer more. So dates available, and you sign up via contacting the KPO addresses on the screen. We put that in a chat as well. So I'm going to just pass across to Matt Spence, a colleague from KPO, to describe a little bit around the day and just wrap it up for us. Thank you, Matt.
Thanks, Jimmy. Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. My name is Matthew Spence. I'm a part-time KPO specialist within the team. I'm also a pharmacy technician within pharmacy services here at LTHT. And just building on those dates on those slides, we have got really good capacity on the 8th of March, the 15th of March, and the 23rd of March. So if you're interested in coming to the LIM Foundation Day, then please email the address on the slide. Next slide, please. So as building on what Jimmy's kind of talked about, what will you learn? The concepts of the Foundation Day. Well, we'll talk about PDSA, 5S, and waste, and we've applied these tools to the actual learning program. So what we've actually done is taken what we've heard some really good things about LIM for Leaders from Paula and Cassie, but what we've learned, and Jimmy's explained it about, we've used PDSA, we've used 5S, we've used waste, understanding waste, to actually improve our process of delivering the education and training program. And what this course will do, will give you the opportunity to learn about these tools, but actually see examples of them being applied within LTHT, and provide you with the opportunity to apply them and show you how to apply them within your workspace. We also touch upon the challenges of implementing change and how difficult that can be, and how we can help you create an environment where conditions are supportive and with minimal resistance to change. And Jimmy's also mentioned we do link this to compassionate leadership and the Leeds Way values. Next slide, please. So what are our delegates saying so far? So here's some really good quotes, feedback from delegates that have been on the course so far. 122 people have attended the LIM Foundation Day, and of that, all of them have said that they'd either be likely or extremely likely to recommend the LIM Foundation Day to colleagues. And Jimmy's already mentioned our attrition rate, and we'd really like to get people who do the LIM Foundation Day to move on to intermediate and then maybe on to advanced. Next slide, please. And this kind of lays out our next steps in terms of the timeline for our training offering. We've got the LIM Foundation Day up and running. There's dates available now, and there'll be more dates available that will be shared from April to July. Within that time frame, whilst that's happening, we're developing our intermediate and advanced offering. We're particularly going to be looking to launch a Kaizen event around the intermediate day, which is very exciting, applying the tools that we've learned into our education and training program. Then we'll be looking to launch the intermediate training course in June, offer that out to people who have done the Foundation Day, moving them into that intermediate course, and then with the aim of having an advanced course later in the year. So that's a bit of the timeline. I'd just like to take the opportunity to say a big thank you to everybody who has helped shape this course. A big shout out has to go to Sophie Williams and Catherine Hughes and our quality partners, alongside our LIM learners who have helped their feedback, develop, and spent a lot of time developing this LIM Foundation course and helping us build the foundations for actually starting the intermediate course and building onto the advanced course. So thank you very much.
Matthew, thanks very much. Excellent. Thanks, Jimmy. So looks really good. Let's just check any questions. I think I can see a hand up.
I think it's Dolph, Julian.
Dolph, yeah, there you are.
Hello. Yes, thank you, Julian. Yeah, I've been involved with this project as a patient partner, as have two of my colleagues, and I have to say the development they've done is really, really impressive, and I very much recommend anybody who's interested to sign up to this. I think they'll find it extremely useful.
Right. That's really encouraging, Dolph. Thank you so much. So can I just support the team and underline what you were saying, Matthew, about capacity for some of those dates? Please spread the word on this. Do get booked on. It really does help when colleagues make the effort to engage in this, because you've seen from the earlier report out today the impact on our services and the extent to which it really does improve the quality of care delivery across the organisation. So really, really good to see this in place, and thanks to the KPO team for highlighting it. So I think that's it. We're just about at time. So many thanks. Good to get report out going again. And please join us at the next report out, Friday the 18th of February, same time, same place. Thanks everyone. Good to see you. Take care.